boys and girls. I'm Nana Rose. Today's story is Cherries and Cherry Pits by Vera B. Williams. Since there's only one name, that means that she's telling the story and she drew the pictures. Cherries and Cherry Pits. It says, "Dear Papa, I still remember how you told me all those stories and how you saved the drawings I made and how you listened to the stories I told. Love, Vera." To the memory of Albert S. Baker. So that's the dedication. Bedemi lives on the floor above me. We visit back and forth a lot. Bedemi loves to draw. So when she opens the door, I'm often standing there with a marker of some kind of color that she doesn't have yet. She always tries a new marker right away. First, she makes a dot on the paper. Then she draws a line out from that dot. As she draws, she tells the story of what she's drawing. She always starts with the word this. This is the door to the subway. This is the door to the subway, and this is the man leaning on the door. I hope he doesn't fall out when the door opens all of a sudden. His face is a nice face, but it is also not so nice. He has a fat wrinkle in his forehead. It's like my mother's wrinkle. It's from worrying and worrying, my mother says. And his neck is thick, and his arms are thick with very big, strong muscles. His shirt is striped blue and white, and his skin is dark brown. And in his big hands, he has a small white bag. This man looks so strong, I think he could even carry a piano on his head. But he's only carrying this little white bag. I wonder what can be in that little bag. I can just see that man going home to his house and walking up the stairs and opening the door to his living room. His living room has a pretty lamp, and he switches it right on. His kids are in the kitchen. "Dee Dee, Dennis, Dwayne, Dory," he calls. "I got something here for you." Then they come out. One sits on one of his legs, and one sits on the other. One leans right in between. And Dee Dee, she climbs around in the back and leans over his shoulder. Then he opens the bag and pulls out a cherry. He puts one cherry in each of their mouths and another, really red cherries too. And there they sit, eating the cherries and spitting out the pits. Eating the cherries and spitting out the pits. And before you can even ask Bedemi any questions about that story, such as, how come the names of all the man's children begin with D? She has another piece of paper already and is drawing. This is the train seat, and this is a tiny white woman sitting on the train seat. She's almost as short as I am, but she's a grandmother. On her head is a black hat with a pink flower, like a rose flower. It has shiny green leaves like the leaves in my uncle's florist shop. On her feet are old shoes. These are the buckles, and in her lap is a big black pocketbook. And in the pocketbook is a bag. You can't really see the bag, but I'll draw it anyway, so you can be sure it's there. It's a little brown paper bag, all twisted up tight. When this woman gets off the train, I know just where she's going. She's going to hold tight onto the banister and go up the stairs. She's going to hold on to the wall as she walks along the street. And the door to her house is going to be right next to the shoemaker's store. She really likes to hear the shoemaker's machine going round and round and his hammer going tap tap. She waves to him when she goes up to his window. Then she climbs up the stairs and opens her door. There's just one room. It has everything she needs. This is the sink where the geranium plant is on the window. And on the swing over the plant is her parrot. The parrot is so excited to hear her coming in the house. He's calling, "Little lady, little lady." The parrot is red and yellow and green. It's blue too. "I brought you something," the little woman tells the parrot. She untwists that little brown bag all twisted up tight. She holds it out to the parrot. The parrot takes out a cherry. It's the kind that's light red and sour. The parrot eats it right up. "You like it?" asked the lady. "You like cherries, honey bird?" She laughs and dumps all the cherries onto the geranium plant in front of the parrot. "There's your own little cherry tree," she says to the parrot. She stands next to the geranium in her stocking feet, eating cherries with the parrot. The parrot is careful to spit out the pits. They are both eating cherries and spitting out the pits. Eating cherries and spitting out the pits. I want to ask Bidemi some questions, such as if you're sure the parrot spit out the pits. But she's already remembering a certain shoelace and a shoe. This is a shoelace, and this is a running shoe. It's going to be purple and white. And here's the other one to match. This is going to be a boy. These are his long, long legs. This boy looks a lot like my brother. He's holding onto the straps of the subway. The train is making him rock back and forth. He's reading the signs. My brother loves to read. And this boy is tall like my brother. And he has glasses like my brother. And he's the same kind of cap. The same green and black cap. Jacket, too. It has the orange letters from his team. And when he smiles, you can see the space between his big front teeth like my brother. In his pocket is a present. When he gets off the train at his station, he just runs right up the escalator. He runs right along the streets, jumping on and off the stoops to his house before he even gets up the stairs. And he can take them just 2 steps. He's hollering to his little sister, "Hey, come on out here. See what I got for you." And before she could even look out the window, he'll be right in the room in front of her. He'll make her choose which hand. And there'll be a cherry in that closed up hand. And it'll be the big kind. Such a dark red, it's almost black. His little sister will grab it and eat it up while he yells, "Don't forget to spit out the pit." "Is that a story about you?" I ask. "No," she says. "But this one is going to be about me." And she draws herself in her favorite beret. This is me. And this is my station. I have to walk up the stairs one at a time, so the bright light that's out there in the sky won't make my eyes hurt. But right here in the street, what do you think there's gonna be? A man is selling cherries from the back of his truck. The whole truck is gonna be cherries. Nothing but cherries. Now see this little purse? I have a little purse in my pocket with some money Mama gave me. When I show it to the man, he puts a bag on the scale and puts in some cherries. But then he goes ahead and fills up right up to the top and gives it to me. "Don't eat them too fast," he tells me. Now what does that man think? I wasn't going to eat them up fast because I had an important plan. I walk home eating the cherries one by one and saving the pits. Eating a cherry and saving the pit. I put every one of the pits in my pocket. When I get to my street, I take them out, I kneel right down, and I poke one in the ground on the edge of our yard. Our yard is a junky old yard. It has a stump where there used to be a tree, but the tree died and they came and cut it down and took it away. Then I poke pits in the ground all over the place. I know if I plant enough of them, at least one will grow. I pat the ground smooth. I pour some water on each pit, and I tell those little pits to grow. Grow and grow. Now you want to see how they grow? Bedemi asks me. But she doesn't wait for an answer. She's busy laying out all her newest markers. The green, the pink, the red, the purple, the brown, the black, and the others. She piles up all the papers from the other stories and places a clean sheet on top. "Now watch," she says. This is the pit right here in the middle, and this is how it grows. First, it makes a little sprout that grows up. Then it makes a little root that grows down. Then that root grows more roots till the ground is full of roots down to here. The sprout grows up to be a little trunk. Branches grow up from the trunk, and from those branches, littler branches grow up into that part of the sky. The branches have dark pink buds on them. The buds open to be light pink flowers. Then come light green leaves, but it seems like there are never going to be any cherries. Everyone is always asking, "But Demi, when in the world are those cherries ever going to be ready to eat?" I love this series of pictures that Bedemi draws. And all the time, cherries will be growing right under these leaves, so tiny and green that no one even notices them. But I work hard. I come out every single day to chase away the blue jays that are trying to steal the cherries. I chase away the dogs that try to use the yard for their business, and the kids who try to carve initials on the tree. Then one day, I come out, and the cherries are ripe. There are so many cherries, the branches reach right down to the ground. There are red cherries and dark red cherries, and cherries such a deep red that they're almost black. Then the people come out the back door and the front door and down the steps. There are enough cherries for every single one of them, and even for their friends from Nairobi and Brooklyn, Toronto and St. Paul, who come down in these airplanes. So here we are, all standing in front of the airplanes, eating cherries and spitting out the pits. Eating cherries and spitting out the pits, till we all fall down from eating so many cherries and spitting out the pits. And this cherry pit and this cherry pit and all the cherry pits start to grow until there's a whole forest of trees right on our block. And that's the story of cherries and cherry pits.